about in the middle of my journey. I'll be applying this fall. And then I know you can't really look at it right now, Shayna, so I'm going to try to explain everything that I can, and then you can go back and look at it later if you like. So we have two objectives for today. One is the LSAC fee waiver appeal, and then the other is just kind of how to expand your network via LinkedIn. So the LSAC, if anyone does not know, is the Law School Admissions Council, pretty much the facilitator for all the ABA accredited law school applications. There may be a few that do not use the LSAC as the means of applications, but usually that's where you'll find and submit all of your applications, all of your supplemental materials like your letter of recommendations, your LSAT registry and reporting is on the LSAC website. So that's kind of our hub. So the fee waiver is a program for candidates who can afford to pay for the LSAT. And I always recommend for anybody to try to get an LSAC fee waiver regardless, just because the process is very expensive. And if you have a fee waiver, the costs automatically start going down. So before we kind of go into like what benefits you'll get, we'll kind of go into the denials and how that goes, as this is a denial presentation. So I did apply for an LSAC fee waiver. I was denied. So basically you go and you apply, you put in your tax information, and I think maybe like they ask you for your bank statements. It's very short. And so immediately you either get a denial, or I don't know if you get an approval. I just know immediately you can get a denial. And then they will send you actually to like another little page, and there will be a list of things that you need to submit in 45 days to get an LSAC fee waiver appeal approved. So what that appeal entails is not just giving your tax information, but actually sending in a transcript, your tax transcript for the previous year, as well as I think I did bank statements, and then you have to write an appeal letter. I am going to be completely candid in just saying that this is your time to kind of really emphasize. I'm not going to tell you to lie, because that's not what you need to do, but overemphasize, why you need the waiver is something that most of us definitely need. And just because you're denied the first time doesn't mean that it's not super costly and you don't deserve to get it. Certainly you're right. So I encourage everybody to make an appeal. So you'll submit all of those papers. Let me go back. So you submit all of those documents. I actually have like mine to show you. So they'll pull up this little sheet, and you'll have your tax documentation, your appeal letter, and then you also submit this as your cover sheet. This is necessary for you to submit, or it will not be processed. So you submit your letter, and then you just, you keep going down, your bank statements and blah, 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 blah. So let's go back. Excuse me. Hello. Okay.
You good?
There we go. Yeah, it was doing its own thing for a second. So What the LSAC fee waiver covers, so that we know how, much of a benefit it is. So you get 2 free LSATs within a 2-year period. One LSAT is $200, another LSAT is $200. So that's a $400 cost that's essentially eradicated there. And then you get 1 CAS with letter of recommendation service. CAS is the service that you use to like submit all of your CAS reports. So your law school reports, every law school that you apply to, you're going to have to submit like what your LSAT and academic report and everything. That's a law school report. So you get 6 free law school reports. That's $270. And then 1 LSAC Prep Plus. So this seems kind of like it doesn't do anything unless you're really studying from like prior LSAT exams, which is really good. But I recently received a scholarship for an LSAT program, an LSAT prep program. And then I got this, like it would have been $99. They would have paid for it anyways. But basically what I'm saying is this will come in handy at some point if you purchase some kind of LSAT prep program, because then you won't have to pay for this $99. So that also, comes through on the back end. And then score preview. Score preview is when you're a first-time test taker, you can choose to look at your score and then not report it to the law schools if you don't like your report or your score. So just a little bit of a further cost breakdown. These would have been my application fees had I not had an appeal. So this includes your application fee, your CAS fees, and then your total is quite expensive. So what happens when you have a fee waiver is a lot of schools automatically waive your application fee. You don't have to do anything extra. They know that you're an LSAC fee waiver recipient, and that's enough. So all of these costs, I could end up paying $0. It's just that all of these costs are automatically waived for me. So I have to do a little bit more work to get like Howard or Stanford's fee waiver, but that's fine. So it could be a little bit less cost effective for me in the end. And then we're gonna, before I move on with the next thing, I just wanted to make sure that, there's no lingering questions about like how to do your LSAC appeal or anything like that.
You have one question from Shayna about the LSAT Prep Plus process.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to explain that a little bit, I know Shayna wanted to know what that entails.
Yeah, so the LSAT Prep Plus is basically, so I don't know if you've ever seen like, well, I'm not going to go to it, but there's like full exams with like all the test questions on it. And usually people pass those around, like they'll just email them and things like that. It's a way for you to see real live tests and the questions and then study from those. So a lot of people have like random questions from different tests, like Khan Academy has just like random questions from, or like mock questions, but these are actual questions that were on the LSAT exam at some point in time. And then they also have them by year. So you can see, kind of how the questions fluctuate or whatever. So the Prep Plus is included into some of, or like mandatory for some LSAT Prep Plus program or LSAT programs like Blueprint or Power Score. They make you purchase that as a part of your package. But if you already have LSAT Prep Plus as a part of the fee waiver, then you don't have to pay that again. You just already automatically have it. And then also, at least for Blueprint, which I use right now, it enables the, what's it called, like the tutor to like see your progress and things like that. So there's some extra things that I'm not really a techie, but obviously they're able to do with that service that I don't really know what they're using it for, but it allows you to connect with your LSAT formal prep person. And then also, I can't see the chat right now, Nina. So if there are any questions in there, can you just let me know? And then Shayna, did that answer your question, or was there something specific?
No, that answered my question. Thank you.
Okay, perfect.
And I got you when it comes with that.
Thank you, I appreciate it. So the next thing that I think is very, very important in this process, and then just going forward in general, is connecting with people, which is our second topic for the day. I will say, as I said earlier, I've come from the military, and it's a completely different world. You don't really have to connect with people in the private sector or in the outside world. So it's a very daunting task when you're kind of transitioning and you have to like meet new people and things like that, and kind of take the reins yourself and take some initiative and go out and do those things. So I kind of learned by trial and error how to really like forge relationships and how to make those relationships work for myself. As an example, I guess I'll give maybe like 2 examples that were recent. I accepted a position, an internship position for the summer. But before I did, I was looking for one like very heavily. And Disney is the company that I like to work for as an attorney. And so I reached out to a few different people at Disney via LinkedIn. One person that I reached out to, I had an informational interview with. That informational interview went very well. And then later on down the line, he was able to put my name in the pool of applicants, like call someone up and tell them that I had applied and like I was looking for this opportunity. The lady was extremely involved, much more involved than I would assume a recruiter would be had he not like called someone up and said, hey, because I had applied like a while before I contacted him. I didn't want to have to contact them, but I was like, they haven't said anything yet. Like, I'm just going to tell them, put my name in there. And lo and behold, as soon as he did, it was like 2 or 3 days later that they called me from Disney, but I had already like basically accepted the other position. So that was not a bummer because I love the position that I accepted. But maybe if I would have had a little bit more time, I might have been at Disney this summer. But so those are the things that relationships kind of give you. And that's completely possible over LinkedIn. You never have to meet anyone in person, and you can still forge a really strong connection. So a sponsor versus a mentor, I think that sponsorships are very important. A sponsor is someone who has an influence in a certain industry or a certain company who can physically create an opportunity for you that you probably did not have, get you some exposure, put your name in the pool for something. Whereas a mentor is someone who just provides support for you, like our girls group. This is a mentorship circle. It's really good. We get emotional support, advice. People mention different opportunities for us, and so they're just a little bit different. I think that it's very important to have both, and sometimes a mentor can act as a sponsor, and they're interchangeable, but sponsorship is more important for me. So how to use LinkedIn to find sponsors. This is what works for me. I think that a lot of people may tell you some different things, but I found that it works pretty well. So how I start by finding people who may be sponsors or mentors is I do a common LinkedIn search, starting with the name of a company where I would probably like to work. So for instance, Disney. So I type in attorney, Disney, or just Disney. And then from the top to the bottom, you go to people. There will be some different people. I usually look for a few different criteria. Me personally, I look for people who are Black, female mainly, but blackmail as well. And then I go to their page if we went to the same college or if they went to an HBCU. Then I send out a message and I kind of touch on those things. I set up an informational interview. In that informational interview, I kind of dig a little bit deeper. I think it's really good to have questions written down for people and not just like the standard, like, how do you get into the legal industry? Like something that drew you to them initially. So maybe like, how did, I don't know. I just say it in the moment, but something that really draws you to them and is engaging. And the most important thing that I think really people appreciate and gets me a little bit further is I always send a thank you card, either like little Starbucks card or just a thank you card. And then staying continuously engaged, staying in touch with that person. Like, don't bug anyone, but definitely tell them things that have happened to you in the last few months that were really positive, or ask them how they are. I think that's really important because sponsorships and mentorships don't happen just because. You have to really care, just like these people care. They do things like this because they may not have had, the opportunity. LinkedIn wasn't around when, just like Nina, said, these groups and things that we have now were not around. And so we have to take advantage of those. And we also have to, care why they're doing it, but they care. So, and then I think it's also important to say how often we should be looking for sponsors. I am constantly like looking and like searching for people. I would say I do interviews with people once a week. And I got that from one of my Spelman sisters. I forgot what she called it, like workshop Wednesdays or something like that, where she on Wednesdays calls one of the people that she knows and like just keeps the relationship going and keeps the relationship building. And I think that's really important. But also, if you don't have a lot of connections yet, you can take those workshop Wednesdays and have an informational meeting once a week. So I do kind of both. Like, I reach out to the people that I already know sometimes, or I do an informational interview with someone who I don't. And that is it for our presentation today. Shayna, let me know anything, just any dialogue at all. It doesn't necessarily have to be a question, but any, how do you stop this? Oh, that's not it. Oh, stop share. There we go.
Awesome. Thank you, Alexis. That was really insightful. And I think you are farther ahead than most people, especially when I used to talk when I was in my 1L year. I would say stuff like sponsor and mentor, and people used to think I was crazy. But like, you need those people in order to advance your agenda if you're trying to go to law school, because your journey doesn't start just by getting in. Your journey starts with all of the people that you have on your team to get you through. Because at some point you're not going to know something and you need someone on your team who can advocate for you. At some point you're going to want to move up in the ranks and you need someone who can help you. So I think that that's a really good point. Can you talk a little bit more about how you overcome that fear of LinkedIn? Because I met a lot of you ladies on LinkedIn. That's how I built the group out. I just found ladies that were interested in law, seemed like they were in the same age demographic I was looking for. And I said, hey, do you want to join this group? And that's how a lot of them actually did join and how we built up this network. So talk a little bit about conquering that fear of that LinkedIn reach out.
Yeah, absolutely. And before I get into that, I totally agree with you that like sometimes people don't really know the impact that like mentors or sponsors or just relationships in general really give you. And that's because we're just very independent in general. But it's good to have a network. It's very important, especially in law. It's very elitist. That's just being honest. And it's not about, like, I was actually talking to the lady at Disney, and she told me that the notion that it's more about who you know, that what you know is like outdated at this point. It's about who knows you and what they know. It's not about who you know. It's about the person that's in a place of influence and do they know you. So that was really important to me. And then, so how I've overcome a fear of LinkedIn. I think the most important thing is just to remember that all someone can say is no. I mean, not everyone is going to help you in life. Not everyone is entitled to help you in life. No one is entitled to help you, but there are certainly people who are out there and are looking to really like, do things like this because, like I said, they didn't have that opportunity. And it also is kind of like a trickle down and a, pay it forward effect. So they know that if they help someone, we're more likely to help someone, and then so on. And so I think just being realistic with the fact that you're not going to get an answer 100% of the time. If you do, that's awesome. And I love it, but you have to just be realistic. And then also, there's just nothing to lose. I think that's how I overcame it. There's absolutely nothing to lose. All you have are things to gain from reaching out to people. And it's kind of stifling. Like sometimes I think when I first started, especially because I didn't have as many like second connections. You know how you can see the little second connection on LinkedIn, and people look at that. They say, oh, like I have like this many second connections with that person. Like, okay, maybe, maybe I'll email them. So I didn't have that many, and people didn't respond to me as much. But you just really have to be persistent and perseverant, and just keep emailing people, because at some point someone's going to answer back, and then you're going to start to build a network, and then eventually people will be talking about you. What happens now usually is like, oh, like I know somebody from this place, or like, oh, like let me connect them with you. And so that's how a lot of my relationships start now. But it wasn't always like that, and you kind of have to like build that muscle and just be okay with whatever happens. Trust the process, go with the flow. It's easier said than done, but like, listen, we ain't out here to care about what people think. We out here to get ahead, and that's it.
And that's on life, Ma. And that's on life. But for real, the big thing that you brought up, and I think that if we don't talk about it, I don't think that we're going to get to the root of the issue for most people, is that we are so engaged in what other people think about us that we forget that like the only person who can advocate for you, even more than that LinkedIn connection, is you. I spent a lot of time confused if this like group would ever take off, because I wasn't sure if people were going to join. But then people started joining, and then we had all these bots join, which were like people trying to take over and sell us like essay grading or whatever. It was weird. But I mean, there's going to be a point in which you have to get over what people think of you and get to that point. So how did you get over what people think of you? Because it's easy, as you said, it's easier said than done. But how did you get over that, especially after that rejection, when you were like, look, man, I wrote my heart out and you did not respond to me, and I feel some type of way because I really did want to make this connection. Because there are people who really do, they put their all and their effort in, and they're still not getting anything back, and they're taking it personally. So how do you take it not, or how do you not take it personally?
I don't know if I've ever thought about that. So that's a really good question. How do I not take things personally? I think some things kind of have to do with maybe your natural demeanor or personality. And I'm already not quite someone who cares anyways, but I think at first it was a little bit stifling, and then I don't know what, something clicked, and you have to accept that it is what it is. And I think it was because I applied that mentality to other areas of my life, but I hold myself to like a certain level of scrutiny when it comes to my professional life. So if it's like personal, like something personal, I'm like, I don't care what somebody thinks, but it's different when it comes to academia or like your professional life, because we do tend to care, because what people think, often does matter and reflects. That's how we get jobs and things like that. But like Nina said, at the end of the day, it's about what you think you can do. And those things, you project those things onto people. Like, people know whether or not you think you're going to be able to succeed. So I think what it takes at the core is sitting down and having an honest conversation with yourself, and just like really coming to terms with the fact that you don't owe anyone anything. No one owes you anything. And trust the process is a real thing. But those things are very easily said. You just have to have a few conversations with yourself. And I do quite coach myself a lot. I tell people that all the time, like, that's how I make it through every single semester. Like, I literally coach myself through the semester. Like, every week I'm like, okay, like, 1 week down, only 7 weeks ago, or however. And I just kind of reiterate. And I also do that when I experience any kind of rejection, because I have, like, with my internship opportunities for the summer, I applied to a lot of places and I received 3 offers. I think I probably applied to 15. So those 3 offers, I'm not gonna lie, were the best offers, except for one. But you have to be realistic with the fact that, and also I think if something is for you, as I get older, I start to understand a little bit more that, like, the things that I want may not be for me. Like, I really wanted to get into trials this summer. I really, really, really wanted to get into trials. For anyone who doesn't know what trials is, that is a pre-law program that is facilitated by Harvard and NYU. And it's basically you're given LSAT prep by, like, the best of the best. So this is a program that I really wanted to go into. And I knew it would help me get ahead, get that 170 I'm looking for. And I did not get into trials, but I had applied to some other places. And I also wanted to really do an entertainment internship, but trials was the top of my list. Now, I did not get into trials, but I got some offers from entertainment internships. And at the same time, I had been applying to some scholarships for LSAT prep. So I ended up getting a scholarship, like an LSAT prep scholarship, and getting an entertainment internship. So if I would have gotten into trials, I only would have been able to do the LSAT prep stuff, and I wouldn't have gotten any experience in the entertainment industry. Right now, you got a little bug. Excuse me. Look like me.
This is why I don't like being on video. This bug came out of nowhere, and I was like, "What are you doing? Stop it!"
Look like me, okay? Listen, I understand, but yeah. So sometimes you just don't understand. Now I got both of the things that I was looking for, because I am gonna have LSAT prep from a really good instructor, and I'm also gonna go into the entertainment industry. So I was focused on something, and it took me in a different path. So, but what I could have done was been completely discouraged, not applied to any more internships, said the summer is over, I'm just gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to just keep going and realize that there are other applicants in the world. Maybe that was a program that was really for somebody and it just wasn't really for me. And that's how I kind of tackle everything. So I think coaching yourself.
And I like that. I had aspirations of going to Harvard Law School, and they didn't have the good sense to take me in. But it was fine because I ended up going to the University of Alabama School of Law, and I realized that was a good fit for me. And that's the thing. We all set our aspirations. I believe everyone sets their aspirations on Harvard at some point in their career, Harvard undergrad, Harvard Law School, Harvard something, because it's that prestige factor, right? We all want prestige. We all want to be recognized. Little known fact, I got into like Duke's LLM program, like after law school, after I was like finished with law school and I thought I was done. I actually got into Duke's LLM program and I turned them down. And that's the crazy thing. Like, we're always chasing prestige, but you have to find your fit. And they wanted me to take a course, prove that I did XYZ so they would let me into the school, all while I told them I was trying to study for the bar. And I was like, this is not gonna work. I gotta pass the bar. Like, you want me to focus on your school and I ain't got to the license part. Are you gonna give me a license? Because an LLM is not a license to practice law. And so for me, I had to tell them no, because they were having me jump through way too many hoops just to get in and get started at their school, even though it was a 1-year program. So I'm telling y'all, what she's saying is that process of going through, trying to figure it out, and I really wanted, she did it. Like, y'all watched her mind just process that loss. I really wanted to get into trials, and yet I somehow ended up with not only the trials experience of having an LSAT prep program, I also got the entertainment law experience. So sometimes your experiences aren't because you are getting into that ideal program. There's sometimes a better fit for you. And I have tried to coach that in a lot of people, but some of the girls like just come with that natural mindset and they're just driven. And I feel like this type of vehicle, being able to have this conversation live with girls, anybody who wanted to could join today, and anybody who wants to can ask questions afterwards. But the big thing is, when I see people who have really good insights, I feel like this conversation needs to happen more often, because this is also a vehicle for them to meet new people. This is also a vehicle for them to empower you to do the same things that they did differently, and in a way in which it helps you, because they might not have ever thought they could reach out to Walt Disney or anybody on LinkedIn, but now they can. And so all I want you guys to take away from this conversation that I'm having outside of Starbucks, that's why you hear all this noise around me. Don't judge me, okay? I've been running around and I am excited that I figured out how to stream from Starbucks. So y'all should be proud of me. But everything that Alexis has told you is stuff that you need to look into yourself. She gave you the information. This is the starting ground. That information you need to see and use. Whatever I get advice from anyone, I take everything and I find the stuff that's relevant to me and I apply it to my life. And Alexis never said, follow all of these steps and you would find the exact same success that I found. In fact, if you follow all of Alexis's steps, you will not find the exact same success that she found, because sometimes God means things for you to happen in a different way. And I had to realize that way later in life. It took me a while to realize that just because people followed in my footsteps doesn't mean that I had the rubric or the blueprint. A lot of people promise you they have the blueprint. All they can tell you is things that they encounter. You might go through the same process and have a completely different experience. So take what Alexis is telling you with a grain of salt and then do more work, build upon that. The whole reason why we share these stories is because it's important for you to learn what other people messed up on so you can do some more work. And then you come back and you share. That's what Alexis did. She went and did it. She could have just kept it all to herself and told nobody. But she said, I feel like y'all should know this stuff. And if y'all don't know this stuff, I'm going to take the time out of my schedule to tell you this stuff. So before I leave, I'm going to put you back on spotlight. Don't get mad at me. But I want you to kind of give them that motivational message that you wish somebody had given you when you started this process, because a lot of us don't really recognize how valuable it is to get a motivational message now that you've been through all the stuff you've been through, and realize what you really needed to hear back then and would have been nice, and then say it to somebody else who's probably in the exact footsteps you were when you started.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really good way to end. And I do appreciate this conversation and this platform. So thank you, Nina. I think it's really good to speak as well. And Shayna, it's good. We're all peers and we're all coming into this at the same time and together, and we'll be entering into the legal field at the same time relatively. So it's important for us to kind of like connect on a deeper level and be able to have these conversations and be honest and learn from each other. Because I'm sure there's a lot of things that Shayna has gone through and learned that I don't know, and I have to, still come to a head with or kind of introspectively figure out. But the thing that I think I wish that I knew in the beginning, and that's even like toward my transition, because I knew that I was going to go into law as I was transitioning out of the Navy. And so what I wish I would have known coming out was to really exercise my existing network, And to also not put so much pressure on myself. I think that's really the one. I think a lot of us, especially that are going into this field, have high expectations, high yield potential, and we hold ourselves to a very high standard. And that can be really self detrimenting, and we're our own worst enemy sometimes because other people are on the outside and they're just thinking that we do all these great things and we're wonderful and we're this and we're that, but really on the inside, like we may be like beating ourselves up because something didn't happen or whatever. And I did experience a lot of that in the beginning, and so I think sometimes you just have to cut yourself some slack, and know that whatever you did, if you put your best foot forward, that was it. And if you got the opportunity from putting your best foot forward, that opportunity was for you. If you didn't, it is as simple as if you put your best foot forward and you didn't get the opportunity was not for you. It's hard to hear, but it is what it is. Wasn't for you. You have amazing opportunities coming. You really have to believe that. Like our belief system is so important, and it really, really, really impacts what happens around us, like just the energy that we put off into the world. And I try to kind of perpetuate that notion a lot to my friends and my family, and remind myself that whatever energy I'm putting out is what's coming back into me. So just cut yourself some slack. Know that you're that chick, okay? And just because something didn't happen doesn't mean it's not going to happen in the future. It doesn't mean that it was meant for it to happen to you. And it doesn't mean that's the end all be all.
Awesome. And is there anything that you kind of want to offer to help them with after that, and like a way to kind of reach out to you if they need additional help? What's something that they can reach out to you easily on? And if they need help in these areas, you would be happy to kind of really guide them through this process.
Yeah. So anyone can contact me via social media. That's probably the easiest to give you. So I guess I can't type it into the chat. It's TheJetSetLex. So the Jet Set Lex, but all one, no funny business in between. Or you can always hit me up on in our sister chat. I'm always available. DM me on there. I'll send you my number, my email. But always call me anytime, because if I, have some questions or something, like Nina and I chat sometimes, and I chat with a few of the other ladies in the group. So it's important for us to be able to feel comfortable reaching out to each other. So you can always reach out to me anytime. I'm always here. I love meeting new people. So, yep.
And I love that. And don't worry, guys, all this information will be in her YouTube description once I update it. So if you don't know or you weren't able to catch it, like just DM her on Instagram. If you were in our Law Sister Circle chat, y'all know y'all should be DMing. I told y'all that day one, this is not supposed to be the only place that y'all communicate. Y'all need to be finding study groups offline, making communities, coming back and sharing pictures and showing us y'all's live meetups in real life. So, and Shayna says, thank you for your time and your great information. So well done, Lex.
I appreciate it. And I'm sorry you didn't. I would love to hear about you really quick, though. Really quick. I know you were in the car and I was trying not to bother you the whole time, but
I love it. Shayna, you're on candid cam. You gotta answer.
Okay, let me go ahead and turn my my blinker off then, so it's not like it's annoying in the background. So basically, really quick TLDR, my desire to go to school actually started in 2014. I wanted to go to Howard. I'm still completely dead set on going to Howard, but life kind of took a turn. I went down a completely different path. I ended up in security. I ended up wanting to go into investigations, but then I had a situation happen with one of my employers that kind of made me realize that my real heart is in law and just being an advocate for people who don't have the voice or don't have the ability to speak up for themselves. I'm a huge rooter for the underdog. So As far as me, actually my last year at the University of Central Florida. I graduate next summer. I'm actually getting ready to study for the LSAT. My goal is 170 as well. So we are definitely in this money. That's where I am right now. There's a lot of other things that I kind of have going on at once. So my biggest thing is balance. But I do like coming into these spaces, and especially just hearing about other motivated women who are really out here on their A game. So thank you for the invitation. I enjoyed it, honestly, and I look forward to connecting with you on a deeper level, because I see you in the chat as well. You do have great information, but I feel like you're like good people. So I would definitely appreciate being able to reach out to you afterwards.
Yes, and thank you for letting me know. I have to figure out exactly what your story is, because I love, you know, hearing people's like specific law school stories. That was like a really quick one, but now I'm intrigued and I have to know the entire thing, because I love that you're, you know, taking action where you saw that, you know, there was kind of a break in the system or in society, and I love that you're just going in for it. So I'm glad to connect with you too. You seem like great people as well.
I love Alexis because she just asks questions. And again, it's like some people you just don't have to teach. They just have those skills to pull things out of people. But like, that's literally the only critique I have of anybody. Sometimes we all try to just throw in our quick jab in there. And that was beautiful, Lex. So I really don't have a follow-up to that, because Shayna, that is y'all's gift. If y'all know my story or have been a part of this, it's all put in Dear Future Lawyer. But as you know, if you're a part of my group, you get Dear Future Lawyer for free. That's just a thing I do for the girls. I don't get paid for this. I just really want you guys to have a process by which you feel like someone is guiding you through. But long story short, I had a terrible LSAT score. I failed the bar. And somehow I still ended up a lawyer with my own law firm. And I've been able to go through 2 cycles of interns. So I'm telling you, it works. You don't have to start off top of your class. I graduated bottom 50% of my class, and I'm still doing great. I became an Amazon bestseller. You don't have to fit this particular mold. You don't got to get the federal judicial clerkship to be successful. All you have to do is be the very best version of you. And Alexis, I love that personality that you have, that just inquisitive. Don't lose that. Like, law school will break it up out of you because you won't want to ask any more questions anymore. But you and Shayna and all of the girls in there, all of you have your own unique flavor. And I love when y'all come to these live Zooms, because it gives us a chance to see one another, because real connection goes past the group me stage. It goes into those meetups, those virtual happy hours, those real happy hours, those I'm in your city text messages. Like, that's what is really important. And that's what we're working on building towards. So seeing you guys here today just brings me joy, because y'all know, one person, 100 people, 5,000 people, it doesn't matter. The goal is still the same, for us to change everybody else's experience in this law field as a minority woman, from a place of cattiness to a place of support, love, and growth, because that is what we deserve as women who are minorities entering in this profession. We are and will not continue to make this standard of society stereotype that we're not collaborative, because we are. We care about each other, we work with each other, and you guys have proven time and time again in this group that we celebrate each other and we're there to comfort each other when we fall down. So that is what this is about. And if you guys want to be a part of the Law Sister Circle, okay, it's the Love Our Sister Tribe. First time I said that, yeah, whatever, find out later on. But just love the sister that you got. And if you're not related by blood, you're related by this group. Men, I'm sorry you can't join. Maybe a man will start that, Lost Brother Circle. Y'all got to get your own stuff on there. But I will do something for the men, because I did get a critique from somebody recently. Like, there's nothing for the guys. So I'll do one special just for the guys, and we can have like some male speakers come in and kind of talk to you a little bit more about that, the etiquette of being a guy in this profession, but also not letting it get to your head, because that's more of my concern, is that sometimes we decide that having a law degree makes us superior to all people. And that's not the type of persona we're trying to put out there. Having a law degree gives you one other thing behind your name. The type of person you are, that is what makes those letters matter. It's the same thing with Greek life. The letters don't make you, you make the letters. So if you're not going to bring that JD or that ESQ, any type of character or moral value, you're going to have a lot of difficulties down the road, girl or guy. You got to have a decent moral character, because I'm not going to want to hang out with you at the bar. Shane is not going to want to hang out with you at the bar. And Alexis is definitely not going to want to hang out with you at the bar and just talk about BS, because all we really do in law is make connections. And we make connections based off of people being relatable, being real, and being honest. And that's hard for us all, okay? At some point, you stop being honest and you start performing for the world. At some point, people pick up on that and they turn you off because you no longer fit what they think. So don't be fooled. Everyone can see when you're not doing your true self. Shayna, since you didn't give us your full story, can you give us a full sign out and, wrap us up and let us know what you learned from Alexis today?
Yeah, I can do that. The full story, that's an exclusive right there. So, that we got to save that one for another time. But I feel like overall what I learned today is the power of connection, the importance of connection, being able to not take no for an answer, especially with the LSAC waiver. That's actually really huge. And I thank Alexis for going into that, because I was initially had reservations about going through that process. So I really do appreciate that information. So like I said, the main primary things I learned is just the power of connection and not taking no for an answer.
If you guys watch this later, y'all know how to reach out to everybody on here. Please, please, please come back to the next one. Support my speakers. They're breaking their fears of speaking. Okay, so support them. They are really breaking and transforming fears of speaking. Nobody likes to get up here and go live, but Alexis had a whole presentation for you. So y'all deserve to go ahead and share her video so she can kind of be seen by more people and make more LinkedIn connections. So stop playing, share this video, tell people about Alexis Jones, and tell them that she wants to go into this process and she wants help. And she's looking for sponsors and mentors. Y'all can do that. We can do that. That's free. That don't cost you no money. So I hope that you guys are full of life, and I hope that you feel like now you can go tackle those LinkedIn people and the LSAC people in your life. But if you don't feel like you can do that, Alexis is giving the information, and that information will be in the description of the video after this thing airs. So bye, guys.